We're going to be doing some workbook pages today on fractions as division. So you should have your math workbook, volume 2. Turn to page 378 and work these problems out with me. Miss Tatum needs to share 3 grams of glitter equally among 8 art students. How many grams of glitter will each student get? You have to ask yourself, are we sharing the glitter or the students? We're sharing the glitter with the students, so glitter comes first. So the first one is going to be 3 divided by 8, which is the same thing as 3/8. 3 divided by 8 is just simply 3/8. We are not going to do number 4 on page 378, so you can skip over and look at page 379. Jared, Monica, and Heather have 5 hallways to decorate for the student council. If they share the work equally, how much will each student decorate? You have to ask yourself, what is happening in this problem? They're decorating halls. Students are decorating halls. Are we going to take the students and share it with the halls, or are we going to take the halls and share it with the students? Hopefully you know you're going to take the hall and share it with the students. So since there are 5 halls, it would be 5 divided by 1, 2, 3, because there are 3 students. 5 divided by 3. When we work out 5 divided by 3, goes in there 1 time, and we have, whoops, y'all can't see that, and we have 2 left over. So that is 1 2/3. Moving on to page 382, you're skipping 379, 380, and 381. And you're going over to page 382. Number 8, 5 friends equally share 3 packs of football cards. How many packs of cards will each friend get? You do not have to use a visual model, but you do have to write a problem with an answer. You need to ask yourself, are the friends being shared with the cards, or are the cards being shared with the friends? The cards are what's being shared, so that goes first. We have 3 cards, or 3 packs of cards. So it's going to be 3 divided by the 5 friends. 3 divided by 5, which is the same thing as 3/5. 3 divided by 5, if we actually worked it out, it goes in there 0 times, and we have a remainder of 3. 0 and 3/5, or you could just put 3/5. Number 9. Elena made 10 ounces of apple chips. She put the same amount of apple chips into each of 4 containers. How many ounces of apple chips are in 1 container? You are going to write a division expression to represent the problem and solve. You are going to write a solution in remainder form as a mixed number, but you do not have to use a visual model to support your answer. So we have to ask ourselves, we have chips and containers. Are we sharing the chips into the containers, or are we sharing the containers into the chips? We're sharing the chips into the containers, so that's 10 divided by 4. 10 was how many ounces of chips we had. We're sharing that, splitting it into the containers, and we had 4 containers. So we're going to work out 10 divided by 4, which is 2 with a remainder of 2. They wanted us to write that as a mixed number, so that is 2 and 2/4. But 2/4 can be simplified to 2 and 1/2, which is our final answer. You do not have to do this part right here. Does the remainder form or mixed number form best answer the question? The mixed number form does, but we are not answering that question. We're going to go down to number 10. Which expression is equivalent to 12/7? 12/7. This line, what does this line mean? That line means divide. So that is 12 divided by 7. Which one says 12 divided by 7? C says 12 divided by 7, so make sure that you bubble in C. We are skipping page 83. You're going to go on to page 84. On page 84, number 3, Trish is taking care of the Hahn family's dog. The Hahns leave 7 cans of dog food for 3 days. They will be away How much food will the dog get each day if Trish feeds them an equal amount each day? Show your work, write your answer in remainder form and as a mixed number. So, we have food and we have days. Are we taking the food and splitting it up among the days? Or are we taking the days and splitting it up among the food? You're going to take the food and split it up with the days. So number 3, since the food was 7, and we're splitting that among the 3 days, it's 7 divided by 3. So we're going to actually work that out. They want us to write it in remainder and mixed number form. So that's 2 remainder 1. And as a mixed number, that is 2 and 1/3. So the dogs will get 2 1/3 cans of dog food each day. You do not have to answer this, which answers the question the best, the remainder form or the mixed number form. It is the mixed number form because it's more exact, but we don't have to answer that question. All right, looking on number 4, Paul plans to run 30 miles this week. He wants to run the same number of miles each day of the week. He says he will run 7/10 miles each day. Is he correct? All right, so we have miles and days in a week. Are we taking the miles and sharing it with the days in the week? Or are we taking the days in the week and sharing it with the miles? You should take the miles and share it with the days of the week. Since there are 30 miles, 30 comes first. So he is not correct because he put 7 first. And where did that 7 even come from? That 7 came from how many days are in the week. So we're taking the miles and we're sharing it with the days. So 30 divided by 7. So on your paper, or on your book actually, 30 divided by 7, you're going to work that out. 30 divided by 7 is 4 with a remainder of 2. So that is 4 and 2/7. You need to write an explanation. We worked it out to see the correct answer, but it says, is he correct? Explain. So, no, he is not correct. He is not correct. He divided the days by the miles, and he should have divided the miles by the days. Number 5 on that page, Gus makes 48 fluid ounces of spiced cider. If he serves an equal amount to each of 7 people, will each person get more than 1 cup of cider or less than 1 cup of cider? And it tells us that 1 cup equals 8 fluid ounces. So this is a 2-step problem. First, we need to find out how many ounces each person is going to get. And then we're going to decide if that's more or less than a cup. So we have cider and people. Are we going to share people with cider, or are we going to share cider with people? Hopefully you're going to share cider with people. So that means you're going to do 48, because that's how much cider we have, divided by 7, because that's how many people we have. So number 5 is 48 divided by 7. When we work that out, we get with a remainder of 6, which is 6 and 6/7. Now, this is ounces. Now, the question says, will each person get more than 1 cup of cider or less than 1 cup? 1 cup equals 8 ounces. They're getting 6 ounces and 6 and 6/7 ounces. Are they getting a cup if a cup is 8 ounces? No. So they're getting less than 1 cup. Less than 1 cup. 6 and 6/7 ounces is less than 1 cup. Moving on to page 385. Erica has 7 square feet of space in her rectangular garden to plant carrots, beans, peppers, and lettuce. Suppose she gives each vegetable an equal amount of space. How much space will each vegetable get? Show your work. So we have space and we have vegetables. Are we going to share the space with the vegetables, or are we going to share the vegetables with the space? You're going to share the space with the vegetables. Since the space is 7, we're going to do 7 divided by, there's not another number. What am I going to do 7 divided by? Well, how many vegetables do we have? We have carrots, beans, peppers, lettuce. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're planting 4 things in our garden, so we're going to do 7 divided by 4. When we work out 7 divided by 4, we get 1 with a remainder of 3, and that is 1 3/4. So each vegetable will get 1 3/4 square foot. Moving on to page 386, Dion needs to make 36 pizza crust. He has 120 ounces of dough and wants to use the same amount of dough for each crust. He weighs a portion of the dough for 1 crust on a scale. The weight in ounces should fall between what 2 whole numbers? Show your work. So we have to ask ourselves, are we sharing crust with dough, or are we going to share dough with crust? You're going to cut up the dough and make it into pizza crust. So you're going to share 120 ounces of dough into 36 pizza crusts. 120 divided by 36. 120 divided by 36. We're going to list some multiples. 72, 108, 144, and that is enough. 36 won't go into 1, 36 won't go into 12, but 36 will go into 120, 1, 2, 3 times. 3 times 36 is 108. When we subtract, we get 12. So that is remainder 12. 3 and 12, 36. That does simplify if we divide them both by 12 to 3 and 1/3. Now, 3 and 1/3 is not my answer. 3 and 12, 36 is not my answer. The question said, the weight in ounces should fall between which 2 whole numbers? So this answer comes between which 2 whole numbers? Between 3 and 4. That is our answer. It's bigger than 3, but less than 4. So it's between 3 and 4. Number 3, Jonas is doing a science experiment with his class. The teacher has 21 fluid ounces of pond water to share equally among 10 pairs of students. How much pond water will Jonas and his science partner receive? So it tells us what they're sharing. They're sharing the pond water. They've got 21 ounces of pond water to share among 10 students. So we're going to do 21 divided by 10. Number 3 is 21 divided by 10, which is 2 remainder 1, or 2 and 1/10. So 2 and 1/10 is letter choice. Ooh, it's not a letter choice. But what is a letter choice? Right here, 21/10, which is the same thing as 21 divided by 10. So that is letter choice D, 21/10. That was a tricky one. Not really. Olivia chose A as the correct answer. How did she get that answer? Well, our answer was D, 21/10. Olivia chose A, 10/21. She divided incorrectly. She shared the students with the pond water. Could you imagine taking 10 students and cutting it up and sharing it with 21 ounces of pond water? No, that would be crazy. You're going to take the 21 ounces of pond water and you're going to split it up and share it with the 10 pairs of students. You're not going to cut up students to share with pond water. So Olivia did it backwards. She must not have been paying attention to what she was sharing. On page 387, Teddy makes 32 fluid ounces of hot cocoa. He pours equal amounts of cocoa into 5 cups. The amount of hot cocoa in each cup will fall between which 2 amounts? Are we sharing the cocoa into cups? Or are we splitting the cups into cocoa? Hopefully you know we're splitting the cocoa into cups. So that's 32 divided by 5. Number 4, 32 divided by 5. When we work this out, we get 6 with a remainder of 2. So that is 6 and 2/5. What 2 numbers does that come between? It's greater than 6, but less than 7. So it comes between 6 and 7, which is letter choice D. Number 5, Pierce swims 10 laps in a pool in 8 minutes. He spends the same amount of time on each lap. How much time does each lap take him? I think the ones with time are the hardest for students to get correct. So we have laps and time. Are we going to share the laps with the time, or are we going to share the time with the laps? Hopefully you know we're going to share the time with the laps. So it's 8 divided by 10. So number 5 is 8 divided by 10, which is the same thing as 8/10, because that line means divide, and 8/10 is B. Number 6, Danny needs 8 equal sections from a board that is 13 feet long. Does the expression represent the largest possible length of one section of each board in feet? So we have to ask ourselves, are we cutting equal sections or are we cutting a board? We're cutting the board. How long's the board? Is it 8 equal sections or is it 13 feet? The board is 13 feet and I'm going to cut it into 8 equal sections. So I'm going to take 13 and divide it by 8. So number 6, 13 divided by 8. We work this out. That's 1, remainder 5. So that is 1 5/8. Now let's look at our answer choices to see which ones have the same thing. Well, 1 5/8. Yep, got that right here. That should be a yes. 8/13. Does this say 8/13? No. That says 13/8. So this is a no. We just determined it does say 13/8. So 13/8 is a yes. 8 divided by 13. Does this say 8 divided by 13? No, it does not. So we need a no right here. Now, this last one is probably the most trickiest, and there will be a question like this on your test. 13 times 1/8. Well, let's look at that on paper for a second. 13 times 1/8. Remember, when you want to multiply, you put a 1 under it. So if we multiply straight across, 13 times 1 is 13. 1 times 8 is 8. 13/8. That's the same thing as this. It's the same thing, just written as a multiplication problem instead of a division problem. So yes, 13 times 1/8 is the same thing as 13/8. That should be yes. Our last page is page 388. Number 7, which equations can be represented by 25 divided by 9? You will have a question like this on your test. So we're going to look at all of these, A, B, C, D, and E. You need to write the equations next to each of the answer choices. I'm going to write them on scratch paper. So Melanie equally shares 25 yards of paper to make 9 banners. So equally shares does mean division, but we have to ask ourselves, are we dividing the paper into banners, or are we dividing the papers into banners into paper? We're dividing the paper into banners. So we're going to cut 25 yards and make it into 9 banners. So A is 25 divided by 9. All right, let's look at B. Quill, I think that's her name, gives away 9 baseball cards from a pack of 25. What does gives away mean? When you give something away, that's subtraction. So this is 25 subtract 9. B is 25 subtract 9. Let's look at letter C. George invites 25 kids and 9 adults to his birthday party. So if I wanted to know how many people were at his party, 25 are kids, 9 are adults, I would add those together. So letter C is 25 plus 9. Letter D. Becca makes 9 rows with 25 buttons each. Each could mean multiply or divide. This other word, rows. So she makes 9 rows with 25 buttons each. So let's draw a little picture of this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows, and this has 25 buttons, 25 buttons, 25 buttons, 25 buttons, 25 buttons. See what I'm doing here? So that is multiplication. So that is 9 times 25. And the last one, E, Joe makes 9 equal servings from a 25-ounce bag of peanuts. Equal servings does mean divide. Anytime you're sharing something, splitting something equally, it's division. But are we dividing 9 by 25 or 25 divided by 9? We're going to take his peanuts and we're going to divide them up into equal servings. So we're going to take 25 and divide it by 9. 25 divided by 9. Now that I have written an equation for A, B, C, D, and E, which ones show 25 ninths or 25 divided by 9? A and E both showed 25 ninths. That is the last problem we are doing. You need to tear out Math Workbook pages 378 through 388 and make sure that you turn them in on your test date. You do not have to do the problems I skipped, but you should have all your work shown for the problems that we did. Email me if you have any questions.